Hello, I am Jaime Elizondo, your host at Real World Ranching, where our goal is to help you reach maximum profitability while you improve your land the fastest. Today, I am going to talk about trees in your pastures. Depending on environment, some people believe trees are helpful and some others believe that they deprive their forages of moisture. But in truth, trees are needed for many reasons, and a savanna type of pasture is much higher yielding and more resilient than a pasture without trees. I have traveled from Canada to Colombia in America, to Africa and Europe, even Hawaii, and have not seen an environment which could not be made better with the addition of trees in a suitable manner. Friends, trees are necessary. A savanna type of pasture is the highest yielding there can be. And I'm going to tell you why. Trees act as shade. They cool ambient temperatures by evapotranspiration, where the temperature under a tree is much cooler than in full sun. They can also act as windbreaks of cold winds or of hot and drying winds if planted in rows with the correct orientation. They act as mineral pumps, recycling nutrients from deeper layers than grasses can access to bring them back to the soil surface. They provide fodder for our livestock, habitat for multiple animal and insect species. Many songbirds, game birds, and animal species are attracted by the food, nesting sites, and protection provided by trees that are added to our existing pastures. Shade for livestock and people. Some trees give fruit which can be harvested by our livestock. Some trees are leguminous, which means that they fix nitrogen to our soils. They have mycorrhiza, which helps our soil life to produce even more forage. They provide shelter from noise and beauty for your farm or ranch. Trees break the fall of heavy rain, allowing water to infiltrate into the ground. They also help reduce offensive odors and reduce airborne dust. Tree roots hold the soil in place. Trees create a more pleasant landscape, provide a source of income and economic activity, and create settings for recreation. Windbreaks or living barns can significantly lower stress on animals and reduce feed energy requirements. You get better animal health, lower feed costs, and greater profits. During the summer months, trees can reduce livestock stress by providing cooling shade and protection from hot winds. Well, with all these attributes, why don't more cattlemen have enough trees in their pastures, or sheep or goats? Well, animals need to be rotated. They cannot be under set stocking or continuous grazing, as that will kill most of the tree's roots. And the best type of grazing for a savanna setting is total grazing, where you avoid overgrazing even at very high stocking rates. Let's not forget what overgrazing is: the regrazing of an individual plant before it has fully recovered. If you are one of my total grazing students, you know that overgrazing is the largest culprit of low humus in most soils. Now, let's define what is enough trees. This will vary with environment. With around 20 to 30% of the total area, with trees, the maximum accepted norm, if the tree species have leaves that allow sunlight to come through. Then it's a matter of personal preferences. Livestock require shade, and grasses grow better under diffuse shade due to a more efficient nitrogen cycle at lower temperatures under the shade of the trees. My suggestion is to plant trees in rows, preferably by seed and with a no-till drill, so they can be protected from livestock. This will be much, much cheaper and faster. It would be wise to plant a fast-growing legume fodder tree that can also be used to supplement your livestock in difficult times. This is not killing 3 birds with 1 stone, but more like 5. Protecting the seedling and trees from livestock. They need to be protected, and I prefer to do it with a high tensile wire electric fence on both sides, 6.5 feet apart, so that livestock do not kill the seedlings by grazing them or the trees by peeling their bark off. About row orientation. I prefer an east to west orientation, so the tree row can also act as a windbreak for north and south winds, but if on pronounced slopes, go on a small tangent to the slope to avoid or stop erosion. On species, well, depending on environment, there are many different tree species that can be used. In tropical and subtropical areas, Leucaena and Guasima are preferred. In more temperate areas, or where it does well, mulberry is the best candidate. Albizia ulybriscin, or Chinese silk tree, is a legume tree with highly palatable forage that grows up to New York. Black locust, willow, poplars can also be used alone or in mixtures. Black locust puts out its leaves late in the spring, and then it casts a diffuse shade, which helps grasses grow well in summer. Further north and west, the Siberian pea shrub or caragana is a highly palatable legume tree that can be used with success. I would suggest planting other taller species that can later be harvested for high-valued wood wherever possible or practical. When you plant trees, you are utilizing more of the available sunlight. Then you can increase your productivity. It's like having another layer on top of the one you already had. With proper management to ensure adequate sunlight for forage, you can produce much more than without trees. Now, about trees robbing moisture from forages. It is very important to be good observers. I have seen dry places where they were clearing all trees to allow the little moisture there was to grow more forage. It was like a 16-inch rainfall environment. When asked why there was green grass only under those trees, they realized that they were not doing the correct thing. So they stopped clearing out the trees. We must remember trees have mycorrhizae in the roots, which helps to source nutrients and water better out of the soil. This is also why cool season grasses grow faster under the diffuse shade of trees. Live oaks are some of the trees with the most abundant soil life under them. They are life givers, while others, like commercial pine plantations, do not. Having trees in your pasture is more complex than only having grass, but it does pay off with many good outcomes and in a natural way. Well, this has been a very superficial review of what creating a savanna can give you, where productivity is enhanced by the complexity achieved in nature. These are the points that we should remember. Number one, grass grows faster under the diffuse shade of trees thanks to a more efficient nitrogen cycle achieved by a lower temperature. Two, there are many fodder tree species that can be used in different environments. Three, plant by seed and in rows. This reduces establishment costs by up to 30 times. 4, protect your trees with high tensile electric fence on both sides. 5, plan on species that maintain quality when your livestock need them. 6, row orientation. East to west works well unless the slope is very steep. 7, remember, the best time to have planted trees is 10 to 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. Well, goodbye. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast in Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. You can also join us on the weekly email at www.rwranching.com/join. Have a great day.